Good evening, and welcome. Settle in, let your breath slow, and allow the day to drift softly away. Tonight, we're traveling far back in time, more than 500, even 1,000 years, into the quiet, candle-lit world of the Middle Ages. We will step inside stone castles and timber halls. We will move gently through their cold corridors, and we will learn the simple, soothing secrets people used to stay warm, especially at night, when the world grew dark and the quiet of sleep settled over everything. Imagine the soft glow of a fire, the gentle rustle of woolen blankets, the muffled steps on old wooden floors. Tonight's story will take you there, slowly, gently, without hurry. This is the story of how people kept warm in the Middle Ages, and how they slept inside their castles, wrapped in layers of comfort that were very different from the ones we know today. As the night settles around us, let's begin with a slow walk into a medieval castle and feel the warmth that people once created inside these ancient walls. Imagine you are approaching a medieval castle as evening falls. The sky is a deep blue, fading toward night. A few faint stars shimmer above the tall stone towers. The air is crisp, cool, perhaps carrying the scent of wood smoke from hearths hidden deep inside the walls. You step across a wooden bridge and feel it gently shift under your feet. A quiet wind brushes past. It carries the faint echo of distant voices, fading into stillness as the castle settles into its nightly rhythm. Inside, the great stone arch of the gatehouse surrounds you. It is dim, and your footsteps sound soft against the ancient ground. Castles were cold places. They were built for strength, not comfort. Thick stone walls held the chill of winter, even in summer. But the people who lived here knew how to soften that cold. They knew how to create warmth, with fabrics with fire, with clever design, and with the closeness of daily life. As you enter the main courtyard, daylight has nearly faded. Torches flicker along the walls. Their flames sway gently, casting warm circles of light. You take a slow breath. The scent of burning pine fills the air. It is comforting, grounding, steady. Let us walk toward the great hall, the very heart of warmth inside the castle, and see how the people there prepared for the long, cool nights. The great hall was where warmth lived. Picture a large room with a high, timbered ceiling stretching into a soft-shadowed darkness above you. Long wooden tables rest in quiet stillness. Benches are tucked beneath them. Heavy tapestries hang on the walls, gently swaying as the warm air rises from the large central hearth. The fire in the middle glows softly, not roaring, not dramatic, but steady like a heartbeat. For many medieval families, especially nobles, and their households, this fire was the center of nightly life. People gathered here before bed to soak in the warmth. They shared small stories, simple meals, quiet conversations that faded as the flames dimmed. The fire warmed the stones nearest to it. It warmed faces and hands. It warmed cups of ale or spiced wine that people sipped slowly as the night deepened. Imagine yourself standing near this hearth. Feel the gentle heat wrap around your fingers. Hear the soft pop of a burning log. Watch tiny sparks drift upward, disappearing into the high rafters. This space felt safe. It felt alive. And slowly, people prepared to leave the warm heart of the castle and return to their chambers. Some warm, some chilly, each with its own way of creating comfort through the long medieval night. As the fire crackles softly, let us move to one of these living spaces and learn how people protected themselves from the cold. Unlike modern bedrooms, medieval sleeping spaces were flexible, layered, and shared. A noble family might have a private chamber, separated by a wooden door or heavy curtain. Servants might sleep just outside that chamber, ready to help if needed. Visitors, guards, and household staff slept wherever warmth or work placed them. The castle was a living thing, full of quiet breathing, quiet footsteps, quiet rest. Inside a sleeping chamber, the warmth changed. The fire, if there was one, was small. A single candle might flicker on a wooden table. A narrow window covered with oiled cloth or thin shutters kept out the night air. The bed itself was the main place of warmth. Imagine a high wooden frame, raised above the cold stone floor. A mattress stuffed with straw or feathers. Layers of linen sheets. A thick woolen blanket. And perhaps a fur coverlet on top, soft, heavy, and comforting. Climbing into such a bed on a cold night felt like entering a warm nest. The body's heat stayed close, trapped by layers that softened the chill of the castle. Some beds even had curtains, thick, woven curtains that could be closed around the sleeper. They created a private pocket of warmth, shielding the person from drafts that crept under doors or through cracks in the stone. Imagine pulling those curtains slowly shut. The world becoming dimmer, quieter. The firelight fading into a soft glow. And the cold staying firmly outside your little cocoon of warmth. As the night deepens, let us step away from the bed for a moment and explore how people prepared themselves for sleep. Staying warm in the Middle Ages was not only about the bed. It was about the clothing people wore to bed, the routines they practiced, the simple comforts they kept close at night. Imagine a soft linen shirt, long sleeves, plain, gentle fabric that warmed slowly against the skin. Imagine woolen socks pulled up to keep the feet warm. Some slept with woolen caps, small, simple hats that held warmth in, especially on cold winter nights. Sleepwear was meant to be practical, comforting, quiet. Before bed, people might warm a small pot of stones near the fire. They would wrap these stones in cloth and place them under the blankets, letting their heat spread through the mattress. It was an early medieval version of a hot water bottle, simple, but wonderfully effective. Some might warm their hands by the final embers of a hearth before blowing out the candle. Others might drink a small cup of warm ale or herbal infusion, something mild and soothing, that signaled the body it was time to rest. Imagine sitting on the edge of the bed. The chamber is dim. Your linen shirt is soft and warm. Your socks snug on your feet. The warm stone beneath your covers radiates a gentle heat. You slip beneath the blankets. Pull them close. Feel the warmth gather around you. And listen to the ancient silence of the castle settling into sleep. As you rest there in this imagined space, let us move deeper into the castle and learn how warmth was shared by all who lived inside its walls. While noble families had private chambers, most people in a castle slept where warmth and work allowed. Servants often slept in shared rooms, close together, wrapped in woolen blankets. Their breath warmed the air. Their bodies created gentle pockets of comfort in otherwise cold spaces. Guards slept near the gatehouse or in small rooms beside staircases. Sometimes they slept sitting up, cloaks wrapped tightly around them, close to the warmth of a torch or brazier. Children slept with siblings or with their caregivers. They shared beds, shared blankets, shared warmth. The castle was a community, and warmth was something shared not only through fires and fabrics, but through closeness, routine, and companionship. Imagine a small group of servants sleeping in a narrow chamber, lit only by the faint glow of a dying ember. The soft sigh of someone adjusting their blanket. The quiet rustle of straw in the mattress. The steady rhythm of breathing. Even in the coldest months, this shared warmth created comfort. It created safety. It created a sense of belonging. As the night grows quieter, let us explore the final, secret techniques medieval people used to stay warm when the castle itself could not. People in the Middle Ages knew their world well. They understood the cold. They understood how to work with it rather than against it. They placed thick rushes on floors, woven mats that insulated the stone beneath your feet. They hung tapestries on walls to stop drafts and add warmth to large rooms. They slept with dogs curled near their feet, living, breathing sources of heat, cherished for their companionship and warmth. They kept shutters closed tight. They sealed cracks with cloth. They used heavy cloaks not only for travel, but also as extra bedding. In some places, people placed their beds in the warmest corners of the room, away from windows, away from doors, close to inner walls that held the heat of shared spaces. Every choice was thoughtful. Every layer mattered. Every technique made the cold of the Middle Ages feel gentler. Imagine these small comforts surrounding you. A wall tapestry gently shifting in the soft breath of night. A thick blanket tucked around your shoulders. The calm glow of embers casting warm shadows. The sensation of warmth settling slowly across your body as the castle sleeps. And as we move toward the end of tonight's story, let us take one last slow walk through the castle, letting the warmth we've learned about settle in our imagination like a soft blanket. The castle is quiet now. The fires have faded to embers. The wind outside whispers gently against the stone walls. Inside, the air feels still, calm, peaceful. Walk slowly through the corridor. Your footsteps are soft. You pass sleeping chambers, each filled with gentle warmth. You pass the great hall, where the final sparks of the fire glow faintly in the darkness. Everywhere you look, the castle rests. Its people sleep deeply, wrapped in wool and linen, warmed by shared closeness and ancient techniques. A world far away from ours, and yet strangely familiar. Because warmth is universal. Comfort is universal. The desire for quiet, gentle rest is universal. And now, as we leave this sleeping castle, allow its peace to follow you into your own rest. Conclusion: a soft good night. Thank you for walking through this medieval night. Thank you for exploring the gentle, simple ways people kept warm long ago. As you settle into your own bed, feel the softness around you. Feel the warmth you have created. Let your breath slow and drift toward sleep with the same calm comfort that filled those ancient rooms. Good night, and may your dreams be warm, quiet, and deeply restful. Imagine now that the season has turned. The gentle chill of autumn has faded, and winter has arrived with a tender but steady cold. Snow drifts softly against the stone walls. It gathers on the windowsills, rests in delicate folds on the battlements, and hushes the world outside the castle. Inside, the castle feels quieter than ever. Winter changed everything for medieval families. It shaped how they worked, how they ate, how they dressed, slept, and stayed warm. The cold was always present, but people learned to move with it, to live alongside it, much as one learns to work with the deep, slow rhythm of night. Imagine stepping inside a chamber just after dusk. The shutters are closed. A faint glow of firelight dances along the walls. The air near the door is cool, but the closer you move toward the hearth, the more the warmth spreads across your skin. Winter nights were long, and people prepared for them with care. Thick woolen clothing, extra blankets, furs laid across beds, and a deep understanding that warmth came not from one single source, but from many small comforts working together. Let us explore these comforts one by one, slowly, gently, as the winter evening settles deeper around us. To stay warm, people in the Middle Ages relied on layers. Simple, practical, and surprisingly effective. Imagine pulling a long woolen tunic over your linen shirt. The wool is thick but soft, woven by careful hands on a wooden loom. Then a second layer, perhaps a mantle or cloak, fastened with a small metal clasp near the shoulder. This cloak is heavy, but comforting, its weight a gentle reminder that winter is meant to be met slowly. Socks made from wool or felt wrap around your feet. A small cap plain, warm rests on your head, keeping in the precious heat that would otherwise escape into the cold night air. People knew how each layer felt. They knew how to adjust them throughout the day and into the night. If the evening grew colder, another tunic could be added. If the fire glowed brighter, a cloak could be loosened. Clothing, like warmth itself, was a quiet conversation between the body and the environment. Even at bedtime, people often slept in long linen shirts or nightcaps, soft enough to invite sleep, warm enough to protect against the castle's coolness. Imagine settling beneath wool blankets, in your warm linen nightshirt. The fabric holds your warmth, not quickly, but gradually, quietly, like slow sunlight spreading across a room. And as the clothing softens around you, let's shift our attention to something equally important: the humble medieval blanket. Blankets in the Middle Ages were not thin or delicate. They were sturdy, practical, and beautifully warm. Wool was the most common material, woven thick, sometimes dyed in gentle colors, sometimes left in natural shades of brown, gray, or soft cream. Imagine a blanket like a small shield of warmth, heavy enough to press lightly on your body, comforting enough to lull you towards sleep. Some coverlets, especially in noble homes, were made from fur, fox hair, sheep, soft, warm materials that trapped heat in the coldest months. Picture lying beneath such a coverlet. Its weight is gentle, its warmth steady and welcoming. You feel the softness against your skin, and the cold outside seems far away, a distant thing, unable to touch you. Families often layered blankets, sometimes 3, 4, 5 layers, making a warm nest that held in precious heat. And beneath all of this was the humble straw or feather mattress, which added its own quiet insulation. Let us take a slow breath here and imagine the warmth of all these layers. Soft wool, warm linen, gentle furs, settling around you like a cocoon. Quiet calm, inviting sleep. But warmth in the Middle Ages did not come from bedding alone. It came from the very rooms themselves and how they were shaped by daily life. Let us explore those warm spaces now. Deep inside the castle was a place where warmth lived freely. The kitchen. It was one of the warmest rooms in the entire structure. A constant fire burning, pots simmering, bread baking, and cooks moving steadily throughout the day. Imagine stepping into a medieval kitchen. The air is warm, filled not only with heat, but with rich smells, fresh bread and stewed vegetables, and wood smoke curling softly overhead. For many who worked there, this warmth was a gift. Servants found comfort in these rooms. When the winter evenings grew cold, kitchen walls absorbed heat, and sometimes chambers built above them felt warmer than others, a quiet advantage for those lucky enough to sleep nearby. Next to kitchens were hearthrooms, smaller chambers built around a central fire, where families or workers gathered to talk, mend clothes, or simply sit close to the flames. Imagine sitting on a wooden bench. The fire glows nearby. Your hands warm slowly. The sound of the crackling logs is steady and soft, a gentle rhythm that eases you toward rest. These were the warm secrets of the castle, spaces where heat lived naturally, spreading through walls and drifting through corridors like a quiet, invisible comfort. As night deepens and the kitchen fires settle, let us move to another subtle but meaningful source of medieval warmth. Togetherness, perhaps one of the most overlooked comforts in the Middle Ages, was the warmth that came from shared rooms, shared beds, and shared lives. Families slept together not only because space was limited, but because body heat was precious. Children slept close to siblings. Servants shared sleeping pallets. Travelers slept near one another in great halls, wrapped in cloaks, grateful for even the smallest shared warmth. Imagine a family huddled under thick blankets. On a winter evening, a small child leans against a parent's shoulder. A sibling curls nearby. Everyone breathes the same slow, sleepy air. The room fills with quiet warmth, not from fire, but from closeness. Even animals, especially dogs, played a role. They curled at the foot of beds, bringing warmth and comfort. Their steady breathing was as soothing as any lullaby. Togetherness was a source of heat, emotional and physical, woven into daily life. As we reflect on this gentle companionship, let us wander into one of the quietest corners of medieval nighttime comfort. The role of sound. A medieval castle had its own bedtime music. Not loud, not frightening, just a soft chorus of nightly life. Imagine lying in a warm bed. The fire has burned low. The room is dim, and all around you are the sounds of quiet rest. The hum of wind outside the window, the faint shuffle of someone settling in their bed, the distant crack of cooling stone, the soft creak of wooden beams adjusting as the temperature falls. These sounds were gentle companions, signs that the castle was alive, but peaceful. Even the faint hoot of an owl outside, or the soft jingle of a guard's chainmail, could feel soothing, reassuring the listener that night was unfolding as it should. The medieval world did not sleep in silence. It slept in harmony with nature, with stone, with wood, and with the quiet presence of others. And now, as this section comes to a close, let the castle's nighttime sound settle softly around you, like the last whisper before sleep. Before sleep fully claimed a household, someone often tended the last embers of the fire. The goal was not to keep the flames high. It was to keep just enough warmth, to make the room comfortable. Through the long night, imagine kneeling beside a hearth. The logs have burned down to glowing red coals. You take a simple iron tool, pull the embers together, and cover them lightly with ash to keep them warm until morning. This glow, this tiny, steady rhythm of warmth, was often all that remained in the dark. And it was enough. The room held a soft, gentle heat, not bright, not flickering, but constant. People found deep comfort in this final light. It was a symbol of safety, of continuity, of the warmth that would return when morning arrived. As you picture the ember glow, soft and steady, let your own breath slow with it, matching its calm rhythm. Now, let us ease into the close of this part of the narration with one final image. Outside, winter stars fill the sky, clear, faint, shimmering softly above the snowy landscape. Inside, the castle sleeps. Warm chambers glow with fatting embers. Wool blankets rise and fall with slow, peaceful breaths. Children dream beneath heavy covers. Servants rest in shared rooms, comforted by closeness. Guards stand watch, their cloaks wrapped tightly around their shoulders. Everywhere warmth is present, not loud or bright, but calm, ancient, steady, and as our narration continues in future parts, we will explore new aspects of medieval warmth, foods, traditions, morning rituals, and the gentle patterns that shaped winter life long ago. But for now, let this image rest gently in your mind. A quiet castle sleeping peacefully beneath the stars. A world of warmth, hidden inside cold stone walls. Imagine the very first light of dawn touching the edge of the medieval world. It enters gently, slipping through narrow windows, resting on stone and wood, softening the shadows that gathered during the night. Inside the castle, warmth has faded slightly, but still lingers in blankets and clothing. A trace of it hovers near the hearth, where the last embers glow like tiny stars fallen to the ground. Before anyone rises, there is a moment of stillness, a quiet pause between night and day. Imagine lying beneath warm wool blankets. Your breath is soft. Your body feels heavy with sleep. The castle around you is silent, except for a distant rooster, or the soft shuffle of someone tending the early fire. Morning warmth did not come quickly. People woke slowly, letting their bodies adjust, from the cozy nest of their beds to the cooler air beyond the curtains. A servant might enter quietly, carrying a small candle. Another might stir the embers and set new logs on the hearth, building the day's first fire. The warmth spreads gradually, like sunlight rising behind hills. Slow, gentle, caring. This was the beginning of daily warmth, a quiet ignition of flame and life. Let us leave the early morning glow now and step into the heart of medieval food and drink, the nourishment that helped people stay warm through long days and long winters. Warmth did not come only from fire or blankets. It also came from food, simple, hearty meals that filled the body and kept cold at a distance. Imagine a pot hanging above a fire. Inside it, a stew simmers slowly. A blend of vegetables, grains, perhaps a small piece of meat. The scent fills the kitchen, rising with the steam. Warm and familiar, people ate in ways that supported warmth and energy. Warm pottage in the morning, roasted roots and bread in the afternoon. Herbal drinks spiced with warmth-giving plants. In the evening, imagine taking a slow sip of warm broth. It moves through you gently, spreading heat from the inside out. A simple comfort, but deeply appreciated in a stone castle. Even wines or ales were warmed, especially in winter. Not hot, but lightly heated, enough to soften the chill and calm the senses. Honey, cinnamon, ginger, all rare, but cherished for the warmth they added to a cup. Food was a quiet form of protection, a way of holding warmth in the body, long after the fire had faded. And as we imagine these warm meals, let us wander further into the world of medieval crafts that made all of this warmth possible. In the Middle Ages, warm clothing did not arrive from distant shops. It came from the patient labor of hands, hands that spun wool into yarn and wove yarn into warm, comforting cloth. Imagine a woman sitting beside a window, a spindle in her hand. She draws wool gently, twisting it into fine threads. The motion is soft, repetitive, almost like a lullaby in movement. In another room, a loom stands tall, wooden beams holding taut threads. A shuttle glides back and forth. The sound is rhythmic, steady, almost like a heartbeat. Every fabric used for warmth began here, in small, quiet rooms, filled with the soft whisper of wool and the gentle thump of weaving. Wool cloaks, blankets, tunic linings, bed curtains, winter socks, all crafted with patience. Imagine running your hand across a thick woolen blanket. Fresh from the loom, the fibers feel soft yet sturdy. The weave holds warmth like a secret, and the color, perhaps undyed, carries the calm tone of natural wool. These handmade textiles were not only necessities, they were acts of care, acts of family, acts of survival, and they allowed life inside a castle to feel warm, even when snow fell heavily outside. Now, let us take a slower turn and drift into the world of medieval nights again, into the rituals families practiced to welcome sleep after a long, cold day. Evenings in the Middle Ages were shaped by light. As the sun set, the castle dimmed, candles glowed softly, torches flickered, and rooms fell into a gentle, amber warmth. People moved slowly in this fading light. Tasks were finished, rooms were swept, clothing was folded. The final meal was shared quietly. Imagine sitting at a wooden table, with a warm bowl of stew before you. The heat rises into your face. Your cloak is wrapped loosely around your shoulders. The day's work is done, and there is nothing left but to let evening unfold at its own pace. After the meal, people drifted toward their sleeping chambers. Children were tucked into beds. Fires were banked. Servants carried warm stones to place beneath blankets. If the night was very cold, a family might sit by the hearth for a little longer, just a few minutes more, savoring the warmth before climbing into bed. This slowing down was essential. It eased the body, settled the mind, and invited rest as softly as a whisper. Imagine blowing out a candle. The room darkens. The only sound is the gentle sigh of cooling air. You slip beneath thick blankets and let the day fade away. This is the rhythm of medieval nightfall. Slow, steady, comforting. And now, let us step deeper into the castle to explore spaces rarely mentioned, places that influenced warmth in subtle but important ways. Every castle had small hidden spaces, passageways behind walls, storage rooms tucked between floors, and narrow staircases winding like gentle spirals. These areas were often cooler, but they served an important purpose. They acted as quiet channels for air and temperature. Imagine a narrow passageway running behind the great hall, stone walls on either side. A faint draft moves through it, cool but steady. This draft carried away smoke from the great hall's fire and allowed warmth to stay where it was most needed. Storage rooms held thick fabrics, rolls of wool, blankets, cloaks. Their presence warmed the spaces, just a little, like a quiet buffer of softness against the cold. Even staircases held warmth differently. Wooden stairs creaked softly, absorbing the heat of torch flames. Stone stairs stayed cooler, their steps whispering with the chill of night. Imagine walking slowly up a stone staircase. Your fingers brush the cold wall. Your cloak gathers warmth around your body. A small torch lights your way, casting gentle shadows on each step. These unnoticed spaces were part of the castle's rhythm, small contributors to comfort, woven into the structure itself. And now, as we move toward another moment of quiet imagery, let us explore the gentle art of medieval fire-making, a craft essential for warmth and carried out with deep care. In the Middle Ages, fire was not taken for granted. It had to be created, With patience, skill, and quiet attention, imagine kneeling in front of a hearth. Early in the morning, your hands hold sparks, tinder, and a piece of iron. You strike flint against steel. A tiny spark leaps into the waiting straw. It glows faintly, then slowly grows. As you breathe gently onto it, this soft breath warms the spark and turns it into a small, living flame. The flame spreads through twigs, then into small branches, and finally into logs. Fire grows not by force, but by care. People tended flames throughout the day, adding wood gradually, balancing air and fuel, keeping the hearth warm, but not wild. The steady, mindful tending created the warmth needed to sleep comfortably at night. Imagine sitting before such a fire. Its glow touches your face. Its warmth travels slowly to your hands. Its soft crackle becomes part of the quiet evening. Fire was life. Fire was comfort. Fire was a companion during long winter nights. And now, as this flame settles in your imagination, let us drift toward the closing moments. As evening falls once more, the castle grows quiet again. The fires settle into gentle pools of amber light. The corridors dim. People gather blankets and prepare for rest. The world outside darkens, and the winter air becomes still. Inside the castle, warmth collects in soft corners, in beds, in cloaks, in lingering embers, in shared quiet moments, between families and friends. Imagine the castle now as a large, peaceful creature, breathing slowly in its sleep. Its stones hold the memory of warmth. Its fires hold the promise of morning, and its people rest deeply within the calm embrace of night. Imagine now that we step gently into the heart of a small medieval household, perhaps not the grand hall of a castle, but a private chamber where a family gathers each evening. Here, a simple hearth glows softly. Unlike the large fire of the great hall, this hearth is quieter, slower, more intimate. Imagine the way its warmth spreads through the room, not in great waves, but in a calm, steady drift, like warm breath exhaled across a cold morning. The hearth was not just a place for cooking. It was the soul of the room. Families shared stories here. Mothers spun wool while children rested at their feet. Fathers mended tools or shaped wood. The elderly sat closest to the warmth, eyes half closed, listening to the soft murmur of family voices. The warmth from the hearth pulled people together. It softened the hard lines of stone walls and turned long winter evenings into gentle moments of connection. Imagine sitting beside such a fire now. A wooden chair beneath you, a woolen blanket warming your lap, the faint crackle of logs whispering in the quiet room. This was warmth without hurry, warmth without noise, warmth shared through presence and stillness. And now, let us move into the delicate world of medieval winters and the rituals that guided people through the coldest months of the year. Even in the coldest seasons, the Middle Ages were filled with gentle celebrations, festivals that brought warmth to the darkest days. The winter solstice, Christmas feasts, Twelfth Night, all invited both joy and comfort into the chilly air. Imagine a hall decorated with evergreen branches, pine, holly, and ivy, woven into simple garlands that whispered of life. Even in the darkest months, their scent, fresh and quiet, filled the great hall with a hint of forest warmth. People gathered at long tables, sharing warm foods and mulled drinks. A spiced cider here, a warm ale there. Small comforts that ease the cold. Settling outside the stone walls. Stories were told, slow, gentle tales, of winter adventures, and kind spirits, and the turning of the year. Imagine yourself seated on a bench, hands wrapped around a warm cup. Your cloak is snug on your shoulders. A soft murmur of voices surrounds you, rising and falling like a lullaby. These moments of celebration brought a different kind of warmth, not from fire, but from human closeness, shared laughter, and the sense of belonging that softened the coldest nights. And now, let us leave the warmth of festivals and slip into a quieter topic, the soft architecture of medieval beds. A medieval bed was more than a place to sleep. It was a small world of comfort, carefully arranged to protect its sleeper from the cold. Imagine approaching one. The wooden frame stands high above the floor, lifting you away from the cold stones below. The mattress, stuffed with straw, wool, or feathers, rests gently on ropes or wooden slats. Some mattresses were soft, some were firmer, but all created distance from the chill beneath. Imagine sinking slowly into such a bed. The mattress adjusts, cradling your body, holding its warmth. Then come the layers. A linen sheet, soft and cool at first touch. A heavy wool blanket. A fur coverlet, deep and warm. And finally, curtains drawn around the bed. Thick drapes that create a cocoon, shielding you from drafts that creep through stone walls. Inside this little world, the air warms quickly. Your breath fills the space with softness. The blanket settles over you like a gentle embrace. This was a medieval sanctuary, a warm nest in a cold castle. And now, let us drift deeper into the soothing rhythms of medieval nighttime habits. While most people slept, some remained awake, moving quietly through the castle to ensure its safety. These were the night watch guards, calm figures wrapped in thick cloaks, carrying torches or lanterns that glowed softly in the dim corridors. Imagine a guard walking slowly along a stone hallway. His footsteps are quiet, barely heard beneath the hum of night air. His breath creates little clouds of mist. In the coldest corners of the castle, he pauses near doorways, checks latches, listens for sounds. The warmth of his lantern casts a small circle of light around him, just enough to guide his steps, enough to ward away the deep chill. Night watch guards were keepers of warmth and safety. Even their movements created a sense of peace, a sign that while the castle slept, someone remained awake, caring for its quiet. Imagine the comfort of hearing the faint jingle of a guard's belt as he passes outside your chamber, a soft reassurance that all is well. And now, let us wander into a gentler, quieter aspect of medieval warmth, the warmth of sound at bedtime. In a world without electric hums or engines, night sounded different, gentler, more natural, like a slow lullaby given by the earth itself. Imagine lying in your medieval bed. The curtains are drawn, the blankets are warm, the last embers glow softly beyond the fabric. Around you, the castle breathes. A log settles in a hearth with a faint crackle. A breeze brushes against the wooden shutters. Someone in a nearby room shifts beneath blankets. A quiet sigh escapes a child's lips as they dream. These sounds were soft companions, filling the night with a peaceful presence. Even the creatures outside, an owl in the forest, a horse shifting in the stable, a distant dog barking once, then falling silent, became part of the gentle rhythm of rest. There was comfort in these sounds. Each one felt slow, steady, reassuring. Imagine now that these sounds surround you, a chorus of soft whispers, woven through the castle's long sleep. As the sounds ease you into deeper calm, let us drift into another element of medieval warmth. The moonlit spaces, where cold and warmth met quietly. Though warmth was cherished, cold was not the enemy. It was simply part of medieval life, a quiet companion during the night. Imagine moonlight slipping through a narrow window. It casts a gentle silver glow across a stone floor, touching the edges of a wooden chest, tracing the shape of a bedpost. Shadows stretch long and soft, not frightening, but peaceful, like quiet silhouettes resting beside the sleeper. The cold moonlight and the warm firelight balanced each other beautifully. Together they painted the room in shades of calm. A medieval sleeper might glimpse the soft glow of moonlit curtains through half-closed eyes before drifting deeper into dreams. And in that soft glow, the cold felt gentle, distant, unable to disturb the layers of warmth wrapped around the sleeper. Let us move now toward the warm companionship of medieval animals, partners in warmth, partners in rest. Animals were not only workers or companions in daily life. At night, they were often sources of quiet warmth. Dogs curled at the foot of beds, cats nestled beside their humans, or found cozy corners near the hearth. Even livestock in barns added warmth to the structure itself, their breath and bodies creating a gentle rise in temperature. Imagine a small dog curled at your feet. Its fur is soft, its breathing slow and steady, its body warm, a simple but comforting presence in the night. In many homes, children slept near animals for the extra warmth they offered. The relationship was mutually comforting, a shared closeness that eased long winter nights. Even the quiet sounds of animals, a soft hoof, a shifting paw, a gentle purr, added to the warmth, both physical and emotional. Let this companionship settle softly in your imagination as we slowly approach the next moments of nighttime calm. Just before everyone slipped into bed, there were a few small rituals, tiny actions that prepared the room for rest. A candle was snuffed, a shutter was checked, a blanket was shaken and smoothed, a child was tucked in more snugly, a wooden spoon or toy was placed safely aside, a prayer was whispered. These were simple gestures, but they carried warmth, the warmth of care, the warmth of routine, the warmth of gentle intention. Imagine smoothing a wool blanket with slow, thoughtful hands. You feel the fabric warm beneath your palms. The bed becomes neat, welcoming, ready for rest. Then imagine lowering yourself into the bed. The mattress holds your weight. The blankets settle around you. The coolness of the air stays outside the curtains, while inside everything is warm. Your breath slows. Your body loosens. The castle sinks again into deep stillness. And with that stillness, imagine now that winter has deepened. Snow falls softly from a pale sky, floating like quiet feathers toward the earth. The world outside the castle has become slow, hushed, wrapped in a white stillness that muffles every sound. A thick blanket of snow rests on rooftops. Icicles hang like crystal beads along the stone edges of towers. The courtyard lies untouched, its usual footsteps hidden beneath soft white powder. But inside, the castle glows, with small pools of warmth, fires, candles, beds, and the comfort of shared spaces. Imagine standing near a narrow window, your breath forming a faint cloud in the chilly air. You look out at the snow, falling gently across the landscape. It feels distant, beautiful, silent, and unable to touch the warmth gathered inside your layers of wool. Snow changed the rhythm of medieval life. People stayed nearer to the hearth. Meals were heartier. Work slowed. Even animals rested more often, sheltering in barns or stables, where straw and closeness provided warmth. Let this winter scene rest in your mind like a calm painting. The cold outside, and the warmth inside, in perfect balance, inviting stillness. Now, let us drift into another realm of medieval life, one filled with gentle scents and calming, warm routines. Medieval people understood warmth, not only through fire and fabric, but through herbs, plants gathered carefully, from fields, forests, and gardens. Imagine a small bundle of herbs, hanging from a wooden beam. Say, rosemary, thyme, lavender. Their scents linger softly in the air, filling the room with warmth that cannot be seen, but can certainly be felt. Some herbs were sewn into small pouches and placed under pillows or within blankets, adding a gentle heat-like comfort. Through scent, others were steeped in warm water to create soothing drinks that help people relax. Before sleep, imagine sipping a cup of warm, fragrant herbal infusion. The heat spreads from your hands to your chest, and the soft aroma rises with the steam, easing the mind. Cinnamon, cloves, and ginger, rare and precious, were saved for special occasions. When added to wine or broth, they created a quiet inner warmth that lingered long into the night. Even simple warm milk was a comfort before bed, a soft ritual that many across the centuries would recognize today. The warmth from these herbs and remedies was gentle, subtle, a kind presence woven into nightly life. And now, let us wander into a different kind of warmth, the warmth that comes from stories. Long before printed books were common, stories lived in voices, carried on gentle whispers, in firelit rooms. Imagine sitting near the hearth. As evening settles around you, a soft glow fills the room. Blankets rest on your lap, and someone begins to speak. Not loudly, not dramatically, but slowly, calmly, as if the words themselves were drifting across warm air. Medieval bedtime stories often taught lessons, shared folklore, or told of distant lands, but they were also meant to soothe, to comfort, to guide the listener gently toward sleep. A story of a traveler finding warmth in a quiet inn, a tale of a kind-hearted hero who protects the village from winter hardships, a fable about animals seeking shelter and sharing warmth in the cold. Imagine these stories unfolding in a slow, steady rhythm, each sentence like a soft footstep toward dreams. Children curled closer to their parents. Adults let their minds wander quietly as the story eased their thoughts. In the Middle Ages, the warmth of a good story was as cherished as the warmth of a fire. And as we hold that image, let us move gently into another soothing aspect of medieval nighttime life. When bedtime came, layers of clothing served not only during the day, but often through the night as well. Imagine slipping into a long linen nightshirt, soft, familiar, warmed by your own hands. Over this, you might wrap a light woolen cloak or pull on thick woolen socks, making sure your feet stay warm through the darkest hours. Some people wore caps to bed, simple cloth hats that held in heat, like the lid on a warm pot. Each garment had a purpose. Each piece fit gently against the body, creating a quiet shield against the castle's cool air. Imagine the feeling of wool around your shoulders, linen against your skin, fabric settling softly as you lie back onto the mattress. The castle might be cold, but your little world of layers held its own warmth. Steady, comforting, reliable. And now, let us step into one of the most peaceful spaces in medieval life, the stables at night. Though it may seem surprising, the stables of a castle were some of the warmest places. On a winter night, imagine opening the heavy wooden door to a stable lit dimly by a single lantern. Warm air greets you, earthy soft, carried by the breath of horses and the scent of fresh straw. The animals shift gently in their stalls. Hooves scrape softly. A horse exhales, a warm cloud of steam into the air. A cow turns in its bedding with a quiet rustle. The body heat of many animals together creates a small sanctuary of natural warmth. Some travelers slept here, wrapped in cloaks, grateful for the living comfort of peaceful animals. Even castle workers found solace in the stables, doing late-night tasks, slowly and calmly. In this warm breathing space, imagine sitting on a small wooden stool, stroking a horse's mane, feeling the warmth of its body radiate gently toward your hands. It is quiet. It is calm. It is perfectly safe. The stables, in their own way, were part of the castle's warmth, a reminder that comfort can come from humble places. And now, let us step back inside and explore another gentle part of medieval warmth, the subtle artistry of tapestries. Castle walls were cold. Stone, by its nature, holds the chill of winter and releases it slowly into the air. To soften this, people hung tapestries, large woven artworks that added color, sound dampening, and most importantly, warmth. Imagine standing close to a tapestry. You touch the thick fabric, a blend of wool and silk. The weave is tight and warm, and the fibers feel soft beneath your fingers. Scenes are woven into the cloth. Gardens, animals, stories of nights in forests, or simple patterns meant to calm the eye. These tapestries trapped heat, kept drafts away, and made rooms feel gentler, safer, more comfortable. Imagine lying in bed with a tapestry hanging just beside you. It moves slightly when a breeze sneaks under the door, but it holds the warmth in place, like a guardian of the night. Tapestries were silent protectors, soft walls within hard walls. Let this image settle gently as we move into the next scene, a moment of medieval warmth, found just before dawn. Before the castle woke, a few early risers quietly moved through its rooms. Servants tended fires. Cooks prepared warm morning meals. Stable hands checked animals and cleared frost from water troughs. Imagine a servant walking through a cold corridor, carrying a small lantern and an armful of firewood. Their footsteps are slow and soft. Their breath forms faint clouds in the dimness. But they know that with each new fire, warmth will soon spread. In the kitchen, a fire is lit first. Its heat grows quickly, filling the room with a comforting glow. Warmth moves outward, into hallways, into chambers, into the waking hearts of everyone in the castle. Imagine sitting near this morning fire, hands wrapped around a warm mug. The day just beginning, the cold held gently at bay. And with that warm image, imagine now the soft, gentle flame of a medieval candle. Not bright, not sharp, but warm, flickering with a steady golden rhythm. Candles were precious. Their wax came from bees, or from tallow carefully prepared by skilled hands. Because they were valuable, medieval people used them sparingly, often lighting just one or two. In a chamber at night, imagine a single candle, placed on a wooden table, beside a bed. Its flame sways slightly as the room breathes around it. Shadows stretch gently across the walls. The air glows with a soft honey gold. This small flame provided warmth in a quiet way, not enough to heat a room, but enough to warm the senses and comfort the mind. People found peace in the slow dance of candlelight, a mother sewing by its glow, a father finishing a quiet task, a child watching the flame as sleep gathers slowly behind their eyes. These moments of soft light made the night feel gentle, safe, and warm. And as the candle burned low, it guided the household softly into deeper rest. Let us follow that light into another calming scene, the world of medieval libraries and the warmth of written knowledge. Inside some castles and monasteries, a special room existed, a scriptorium, where monks or scribes worked slowly and patiently to copy books by hand. Imagine stepping quietly into such a room at night. The air is cool, but several candles burn nearby, not enough to brighten the chamber, but enough to create small circles of warm light. Around each desk, a monk sits wrapped in a thick woolen cloak. His breath is calm. His quill moves gently across parchment. The sound is soft, like a faint scratching, barely audible. This room holds a different kind of warmth, the warmth of focus, of quiet minds, working with patience. The walls are lined with shelves, holding parchment scrolls and carefully bound manuscripts. Imagine running your hand along one of these shelves. The wood is smooth. The parchment has a subtle scent, warm, earthy, almost comforting. Scriptoriums reminded people that warmth could exist in the stillness of study, the glow of candlelight, and the gentle rhythm of thought. As we leave this peaceful room, let us drift now toward a different kind of nightly comfort, the natural warmth found in medieval cloaks and capes. Cloaks were one of the most beloved forms of warmth in medieval life. Imagine a long woolen cloak, draped around your shoulders, heavy enough to feel grounding, but soft enough to settle comfortably against your body. Cloaks were worn during the day, but also in the evening, especially when moving between chilly corridors and cooler outer rooms. They were like portable hearths, carrying warmth wherever you walked. Imagine pulling your cloak closer as you move through a dim hallway. The fire behind you fades, but your cloak keeps you warm until you reach the next source of heat. Some cloaks were lined with fur, for extra insulation. Others were plain wool, but woven so thick that they trapped warmth, like a cozy shelter. Children loved them. Adults relied on them. Night watch guards wrapped them tightly. During winter patrols, a cloak could even serve as an extra blanket. When someone slept in an unfamiliar room, a simple comfort that traveled with them everywhere. Let the quiet weight of a warm cloak settle across your imagination. As we move gently to the next soothing topic, castles were not silent places. They creaked, shifted, and breathed with the weather. But there were moments of stillness, deep, comforting stillness, when the world seemed to pause. Imagine a long stone hallway. Late at night, the torches have burned low. The air is cool and smells faintly of wood smoke. You walk slowly, your cloak brushing softly against the floor. The sound of your footsteps echoes gently, fading into the quiet, like whispers drifting through air. Every stone around you has held centuries of warmth and cold, absorbing life, releasing it slowly. This silence was not empty. It was peaceful, a blanket of calm wrapped around the castle each night. People found comfort in it, trusting that stillness meant safety, rest, and the chance to ease into deep, gentle sleep. Let us continue our journey by stepping into a place where warmth had to be created with special care. The bedchamber of royalty. Royal chambers were grand, but even they could be chilly. High ceilings, stone walls, large spaces that held more cold than one fire could chase away. To stay warm, queens and kings relied on layers of comfort and design. Imagine stepping into such a room at night. Large tapestries cover the walls. Thick carpets soften the floor. A grand bed stands near the hearth, draped with velvet curtains, embroidered with gold thread. Inside the bed, blankets are piled high. Furs line the interior. Pillows filled with feathers create a soft cloud for the sleeper's head. Before the royal family rested, servants warmed the bedding with heated stones or metal pans filled with embers, moved gently beneath the sheets to create a welcoming warmth. Imagine slipping into such a bed. The warmth greets you instantly, spreading softly around your body. The curtains close, shutting out drafts, creating a private world of gentle comfort. Even kings and queens, despite all their wealth, relied on medieval warmth techniques that were simple, human, and familiar. Let this royal coziness rest gently in your thoughts as we move onward to another warm tradition. During winter, the Great Hall became more than a gathering space. It became the warm lungs of the castle. Imagine entering it in the evening. Fire roars at the center hearth, large enough to heat the entire room. Smoke rises into the rafters. The air glows with amber warmth. People gather, families, servants, guests, all drawn toward the heat. Some sit on benches, with blankets around their shoulders. Others stand near the fire, hands outstretched, warming their fingers. Children play quietly in corners, their cheeks flushed from the heat. Stories are told. Songs drift softly. Someone strums a lute with slow, calming notes. The warmth of the Great Hall was more than physical. It was emotional, a collective comfort that gathered everyone into a peaceful shared space. Imagine sitting on a bench now, Your hands warmed, your shoulders relaxed, your breath slowing as you listen to gentle music echo across the hall. And now, let that warmth carry you into the next soft scene. When it was time for sleep, fires were not simply blown out. They were carefully banked, tucked into low, glowing beds that would last until morning. Imagine kneeling beside a hearth. The flames flicker low, settling into quiet embers. A servant uses a small iron tool to draw the coals together into a tight cluster. Ashes sprinkled gently on top, like a soft blanket, to keep the embers warm. Then, with slow care, a few thicker pieces of wood are placed just close enough to catch slowly. And that's it. The fire rests. The room glows faintly. A gentle warmth lingers through the night. This practice was safe, calm, and necessary, even in the coldest months. A well-banked fire could greet the castle with a warm welcome at dawn. Now, as the embers settle in your imagination, we drift into the closing scene. For this part, outside snow falls quietly, beneath a deep night sky. Inside, the castle sleeps. Fires are low, blankets are thick, breathing is slow and peaceful. Behind bed curtains and wooden doors, guards walk softly along the battlements. Their cloaks rustle in the still air. Their torches glow like warm stars against the cold stone. From the highest tower to the quietest servant's room, the whole castle rests in gentle winter warmth. Picture it, a vast ancient home, wrapped in stillness, protected by layers of wool, fire, and closeness, held peacefully beneath a silent sky. Although castles often kept people sheltered within their walls, there were times when the draw of community pulled everyone outward, even in the coldest days of winter. Imagine a small medieval town square, just beyond the castle gates. Snow has been pushed aside to make narrow paths. Smoke rises from braziers, set out to warm hands and keep the chill away. Merchants stand bundled in thick cloaks, their breaths forming gentle clouds as they speak. Some sell woolen mittens, others warm pastries, tea-like herbal infusion served in wooden cups. Imagine walking through this winter market. Your boots press softly into the snow. A warm breeze escapes from a nearby baker's stall, carrying the scent of fresh bread. A musician plucks quiet notes from a small harp, the tune drifting softly across the cold air. Though the world is chilly, the warmth of community fills the scene. Voices smile, small acts of kindness, and the simple joy of being among others. People would return to the castle with bundles of wool, fresh food, perhaps a small treat to share by the fire. These gatherings reminded everyone that warmth was not only physical, it was shared, woven through friendships and gentle moments of connection. Let us now return inside, to the quieter corners of medieval warmth, specifically to the world of beds, designed for more than one sleeper. In the Middle Ages, beds were often shared, not only by couples, but by siblings, relatives, and even traveling guests. The world was colder, resources were fewer, and sharing warmth was practical, as well as comforting. Imagine a large medieval bed, with thick fur blankets and curtains drawn around it. Children settle in first, nestling together beneath the covers. Their feet warm each other as they curl close. Adults join later, their presence adding new layers of heat. to the small world inside the drapes. The warmth becomes shared, a collective comfort that pushes the cold far away. Even in simple homes, with only one bed, different generations slept together, each breath contributing to the gentle heat building through the night. This closeness strengthened families. It brought comfort after long workdays, and it made winter nights feel safe and peaceful. Let this shared warmth settle softly in your imagination as we move now to another aspect of medieval life, the quiet rituals that guided people before climbing into bed. Medieval people did not bathe daily, but nighttime washing was a small but cherished ritual. Imagine a wooden basin filled with warm water, heated near the fire. Someone dips a cloth into the bowl and lets the warmth soak in. Then they gently wash their face, their hands, perhaps even their feet, all the parts touched by daily work. And winter cold, the sensation is soothing. Warm water chases the chill away. Muscles soften, breathing slows. This simple ritual prepared the mind and body for rest. A child might giggle as their feet are dried by a soft linen cloth. An adult might soak their hands a moment longer, feeling the heat loosen stiff joints. The bowl is placed aside, and a clean cloth hangs near the hearth to dry. Imagine performing this soft washing in a dimly lit chamber. Only a candle flickers nearby. The water still warms your skin as you move slowly toward your waiting bed. This small warmth was as important as any fire. Now let us drift further into the nighttime landscape of the castle, into the world just beyond its walls. Outside the castle, the winter night is vast. Imagine stepping into the courtyard. Snow crunches beneath your boots. Your breath floats quietly upward. The stars shine clearly in the cold, still sky. The castle walls rise tall around you, their stone surfaces catching moonlight and reflecting it in soft silver tones. Torches burn at intervals, their flames dancing gently in the breeze. At the far corner of the courtyard, a guard tends a fire basket, a small brazier giving off pockets of comforting heat. Animals sleep in the stable. Horses shift softly. A hound curls on a pile of straw, snoring gently. The chill outside is sharp but peaceful. The cold air has its own beauty, its own stillness, its own quiet invitation to breathe slowly and take in the night. Imagine standing there for a moment, your cloak drawn close, feeling the gentle contrast between the crisp air and the warmth gathered beneath the fabric. When you return inside, the castle feels warmer than before, as though the walls welcome you back. Like an old friend, let us now explore another comforting space, the small private chapels found in many medieval castles. Many castles had small chapels, humble spaces used for prayer, reflection, and gentle stillness. Imagine stepping into one at night. A single candle glows on the altar. Its light reflects off metal decorations, simple but gleaming. In the golden haze, the stone walls feel cool, but the quiet inside creates its own warmth, a warmth not felt on the skin, but in the heart. A few wooden benches line the sides of the room. A tapestry hangs behind the altar, softening the cold stone and adding a comforting presence. Sometimes people stepped inside before bed to whisper a small prayer or find a moment of peace before returning to their chambers. The air feels still, safe, like a pocket of calm, preserved for centuries. Imagine sitting on a bench, your cloak wrapped around your shoulders. You listen to the silence. Let it settle over you, warming you in its own quiet way. Now let us leave the chapel and enter a different warm space, the servants' quarters, where nightly routines carried on. With gentle familiarity, servants worked long hours. Yet at night, their sleeping quarters offered a simple, comforting warmth. Imagine a narrow room with several wooden beds or straw-filled pallets lined along the walls. A small fire burns in a modest hearth, its light casting gentle shadows over the quiet room. Servants settle beneath wool blankets, grateful for both rest and the warmth shared. Between close companions, their laughter fades, their breathing deepens. Sometimes a soft conversation lingers before drifting off, like a candle flame shrinking to a final glow. They often slept in their daytime clothes, adding blankets as needed. The closeness of others brought comfort, a reminder that even after hard work, they had warmth, company, and a safe place to sleep. Imagine lying on one of these pallets. Your body sinks into the straw. The room hums with soft breaths. The fire flickers quietly in the corner. This is not luxury, but it is home. It is warmth. It is peace. Now let us follow the quiet footsteps of someone who rises before dawn. Long before the castle stirred, a single figure often rose from their warm bed. Perhaps a cook, needing to prepare the morning meal. Perhaps a servant, tending the fire. Perhaps a guard ending his night shift. Imagine this person, slipping quietly from beneath blankets, feeling the cool air touch their skin. They wrap themselves in a cloak and move softly through the hallways, careful not to disturb the deep stillness around them. Their footsteps echo lightly on the stone floor. The torches have burned low. The world is dim. They reach a hearth and kneel beside it, coaxing embers into flame. A soft whisper of warmth, returning to life. This small gesture brings the castle slowly awake. A gentle reminder that warmth begins with quiet intention. Beyond the castle walls, the sky begins to pale, a soft, delicate blue, spreading at the edge of the horizon. Inside, fires grow stronger. Rooms slowly fill with warmth. Blankets are folded neatly. People rise from their beds, stretching sleep from their bodies. The promise of morning is calm and comforting. It is warmth rediscovered, a fresh beginning, a gentle renewal after the long, quiet night. And with that quiet renewal, imagine the pale light of dawn, slowly touching the castle's highest tower. The sky is still cool and quiet, a soft gray-blue, like gentle silk spread across the horizon. As the sun rises, its warmth begins to drift through narrow castle windows. Not quickly, not fiercely, but with a slow, comforting glow. These windows, often covered with oiled cloth or thin slices of horn, did not let in much heat. Yet even the faintest sunlight felt warm after a long winter night. Imagine standing near such a window. A gentle beam of pale gold rests upon your face. Your eyes soften. The warmth feels like a quiet promise. A new day beginning. Slow and steady. Inside, the castle awakens to this tender light. A maid brushes frost from the inner shutters. A child stirs under blankets, and rolls closer to the warmest spot in the bed. Someone stretches their arms and breathes in the first deep breath of morning. Sunlight, even faint, was a gift in winter, a natural warmth that illuminated rooms and brightened spirits. Let us walk from this soft morning glow into one of the warmest areas of medieval life. The kitchen at daybreak. The medieval kitchen was one of the warmest, most comforting places in the entire castle. Imagine stepping into it just as the morning fire roars to life. The air is warm against your skin. The scent of bread dough rising fills the space. A large pot sits near the hearth, steam curling upward in soft ribbons. Cooks move slowly at first, wrapping shawls around their shoulders. Still waking from sleep, they stir the porridge, knead the dough, prepare roots and herbs for the day ahead. Warmth spreads outward, from the fire, from the ovens, from the steady rhythm of work, carried out in this cozy room. Imagine sitting on a small stool nearby. Your hands are cold at first, but as you hold them near the fire, the warmth gently returns. A loaf of bread crackles as its crust forms in the heat. Someone ladles warm broth into a wooden cup. A cat weaves between legs, seeking a patch of warmth near the hearthstones. The kitchen offered not just heat, but comfort, security, and the soothing reassurance that nourishment was on its way. Let us move from the kitchen to another vital warm space. The workshop. Workshops in the Middle Ages were places of both creation and warmth. Imagine a blacksmith's forge. A glowing fire burns brilliantly, casting warm light across the stone floor. Sparks lift into the air, then disappear like tiny falling stars. The blacksmith moves with slow strength, lifting, shaping, breathing steadily in the warm air, as metal glows red in the fire's heat. In another room, a carpenter's workshop hums quietly. Shavings of wood gather near the floor, and the scent of freshly cut timber adds a warm, earthy comfort to the air. Even during the coldest months, these workspaces stayed warm. The heat came from labor, from tools striking wood or metal, from fires kept alive for long hours each day. Craftsmen often felt fortunate. During winter, their work surrounded them with warmth and motion, a comforting refuge from the castle's cooler halls. Imagine watching a craftsman shape a wooden chair leg with slow, rhythmic strokes. His breath is calm. The light from the fire touches the grains of wood, as though illuminating the story hidden within it. Now let us walk from this busy warmth into a quieter kind, the warmth created by medieval sleep furniture. Beyond the traditional bed, in colder regions, a special kind of bed helped families stay warm through winter nights. It was called a box bed, a wooden sleeping nook built into the wall, like a tiny sheltered room. Imagine stepping into one. Wooden panels enclose the sides. A small curtain hangs across the opening. Inside, the bed is filled with straw, blankets, and perhaps a fur coverlet. Once inside, the warmth builds quickly. Your breath softens the air. Your body heat gathers around you, and the wooden walls hold everything in, like a gentle embrace. These box beds were not only efficient, but cozy, creating a nest-like sanctuary, protected from drafts and winter chill. Children especially loved them. Sleeping inside felt like entering a tiny world of safety, where stories whispered in the dark became dreams. and dreams became comfort. Imagine lying inside one now. The wood smells faintly sweet. A candle flickers softly outside the curtain. The blanket rests on you, like a tender weight. This warm enclosed space was a treasured part of medieval life. Let us drift now into the companionship of evenings, the moments when families came together to share warmth in simple ways. Before bedtime, families often gathered in the warmest room of the house, usually near the hearth. Imagine such a gathering. A mother sits on a low stool, mending a shirt. A father shapes wood for a tool handle. Children sit on the floor, wrapped in blankets, their heads resting against one another. A small candle glows in the center of the table. The fire crackles peacefully behind them. Someone hums a quiet tune, a lullaby that drifts through the warm air. These moments were soft and simple. Nothing rushed, nothing loud, just the peace of family, sharing warmth and letting the day fade away. Sometimes, someone would share a story. Sometimes, everyone simply sat together. In the gentle quiet, imagine leaning back now, your shoulders soft, your breathing slow, your body warmed by those around you. This shared warmth became part of the medieval rhythm, an evening ritual passed down through generations. From here, let us travel into one of the calmest moments of medieval winter life, resting by a fire after a long day. At the end of a winter day, when the chores were finished and the meals had been eaten, people often took a few quiet minutes to rest near the fire. Imagine sitting before a hearth, with your eyes half closed. The flames glow slowly, not brightly, just enough to fill the room with warm amber light. Your hands rest in your lap, your feet warm on the hearthstones. The scent of wood smoke softly lingers in the air. A feeling of peace settles over your body, the kind of peace that comes only after a day of work and the promise of a good night's rest. This moment, simple as it was, carried deep meaning. It was the pause before dreams, the breath before sleep, the warmth before darkness. And now, as this part of our journey comes to a gentle close, let us drift into a final scene. The castle once again settling into its soft nighttime rhythm. The sun has set. The warmth of the day fades slowly into the quiet of evening. Inside the castle, fires burn low. Candles flicker softly. Blankets are pulled close. Footsteps grow rare. Voices whisper. Doors close gently. The castle breathes once more, in slow, peaceful rhythm. A living structure, resting beneath winter skis. Imagine this moment. The world is quiet. The air is calm. The warmth you've gathered from fires, fabrics, and companionship surrounds you like a soft, protective glow. Imagine yourself now, walking slowly through a long stone corridor. Deep inside the castle, the torches along the walls glow faintly, casting soft golden light that wavers with each small movement of air. Your footsteps echo, not loudly, but in a calm, rhythmic way that makes the corridor feel alive. These hallways were cool, especially in winter. Cold air drifted through tiny cracks in the stone, yet the flicker of torches, the woven tapestries along certain walls, and the steady beat of footsteps gave the space a gentle warmth. Imagine running your fingers lightly along a tapestry. It feels thick, soft, full of the warmth of hands that wove it months or years ago. Walking a castle corridor at night was not frightening. It was grounding, a reminder that the castle was both vast and comforting, a place of strong walls and quiet corners. Let that feeling settle softly around you as we move deeper into the warmth found in medieval inns and guest lodgings. Traveling in the Middle Ages was often a cold affair. Long roads, windswept paths, and days spent outdoors. But at night, travelers sought the warmth of inns or castle guest rooms. Imagine entering a medieval inn. After a long, chilly journey, a small fire burns in the hearth. The room smells of warm broth and wood smoke. A host greets you with a gentle nod, offering a seat near the flames. Your cloak is damp with evening frost, but as you sit, the fire begins to warm your cheeks and thaw your hands. A wooden cup of warm ale or simple spiced wine is placed before you. It warms your fingers before you even take a sip. Upstairs, a small room awaits. A straw mattress, thick wool blankets, and perhaps a fur coverlet, kept for travelers in midwinter. The warmth is modest, but deeply comforting. Imagine lying down in that small room. You hear the faint hum of voices from the floor below. The fire crackles softly through the wooden boards. For a traveler, this simple warmth felt like a gift. Now let us return to the castle, where warmth existed in even the simplest gestures. In the Middle Ages, staying warm wasn't only about fire or blankets. It was also about moving through the day with others. Shared tasks brought warmth, the warmth of motion, and the warmth of companionship. Imagine two women sitting near the hearth, mending clothes. Each stitch brings a small satisfaction. Their conversation drifts softly between the steady rhythm of needle and thread. Nearby, children gather wood for the next fire. Their laughter fills the room, creating a warmth of its own. A man splits logs outside, his breath rising in faint mist. As the steady motion warms his body, he returns inside with a smile, shaking snow from his cloak. In winter, these simple shared activities made life feel lighter. The hours passed gently, guided by the rhythm of hands, the glow of fires, and the presence of others. Feel this gentle companionship, like warmth spreading through your chest. As we drift now to quieter scenes of nightly rest, pets played a quiet but important role in medieval warmth and comfort. Dogs were common in castles, large hounds for hunting, small companions for nobles. Imagine a loyal dog, curled at the foot of a bed, its warm body resting against the thick blankets. Its slow, steady breathing creates a soothing rhythm that fills the quiet night. Cats also lived in castles, keeping watch for mice and seeking warmth near hearths and sleeping bodies. Imagine a cat curled in a tiny ball near the fire's last embers, its fur glowing softly in the dim light. These animals offered warmth, not only through heat, but through companionship, a gentle presence that eased the cold and brought comfort to the nighttime world. Now let us move to another warm detail: the thick rugs and floor coverings that softened winter nights. Stone floors could be cold, very cold, but medieval people knew How to soften them. Imagine a floor covered with fresh rushes, long grasses laid neatly to insulate the stone and add warmth beneath bare feet. Sometimes herbs were mixed in. Lavender, mint, meadowsweet, adding soft fragrance and helping purify the air. In wealthier homes, woven rugs or heavy carpets were spread across the floors, especially near hearths and beneath tables. Imagine stepping onto a thick rug after rising from your warm bed. The fabric greets your feet with gentle softness, warding off the morning chill. Even this simple addition brought warmth to a room, a layer of comfort between people and the cold stone. Beneath them, let us follow these warm touches into another subtle source of heat. The bodies of livestock, kept in lower levels of certain buildings. In some medieval structures, especially in northern regions, animals slept on the ground floor, while humans lived above. This wasn't only convenient, it was warm. Imagine a stone building with a stable on the bottom level. Cows, goats, and horses rest peacefully in straw bedding. Their body heat rises subtly through the wooden floorboards into the living space above. Families sleeping upstairs would feel this gentle warmth, not hot, but steady, like the soft breathing of the earth itself. The animals below slept calmly, adding warmth just by existing. Imagine lying in a small loft room. Above such a space, the floor beneath you feels faintly warm. A wool blanket is tucked around you. Outside, winter winds howl softly, but inside, the shared warmth of life keeps the night at bay. Now let us travel to another warm setting, the bustling warmth of the Great Hall. During festive winter nights, on special occasions, the Great Hall came alive with warmth and joy. Imagine entering it now. Fires roar at both ends of the room. Candles glow from iron chandeliers. The air is filled with the scent of roasted meat, warm bread, and spiced drinks. Minstrels play gentle music, not loud, but flowing, softening the chill of the winter evening. People gather side by side, their cloaks draped over benches, their cheeks flushed from firelight and good company. Even in the heart of winter, this hall feels like summer, alive with warmth, laughter, and quiet celebration. Imagine sitting at one long table, your hands wrapped around a warm mug, your shoulders relaxing as the heat from the fire settles softly across your back. These feasts were more than meals. They were moments of shared warmth, physical, social, emotional, woven into the coldest season of the year. Let this warmth linger as we move to a quieter place again. The castle gardens in winter. Castle gardens held their own kind of peace. Even in winter, imagine stepping into the courtyard garden. On a quiet night, frost covers the ground like tiny crystals. Bare branches stretch upward toward a pale moon. The air is crisp, but not unkind. Your breath rises in soft clouds that drift away on a slow breeze. Stone benches carry a thin dusting of frost. A fountain is frozen in place, its water still and glowing faintly in moonlight. The garden is cold, but beautiful, and when you return inside, the warmth of the castle feels even sweeter, as though the stone walls themselves are welcoming you home. Now let us find one last comforting place before we end this part. A small sleeping nook, hidden beneath a staircase. Not everyone slept in large chambers. Some found rest in small, tucked-away places, cozy corners that held warmth well. Imagine a small nook beneath a stone staircase. A pallet of straw lies neatly on the floor. A thick blanket is folded on top. A small lantern glows nearby, casting warm light in a tiny circle around the bed. Though small, this nook is warm. The surrounding stone protects you from drafts. The low ceiling traps heat easily, and the enclosed space feels safe, like a nest built for comfort. Imagine lying in this little nook, your body curled beneath blankets, your face warmed by the lantern's glow. The world outside quiet. This humble place offers the same peace as the finest royal bed, a gentle warmth, and the promise of a restful night. Imagine now the kitchen at the very end of the day. The fire that roared with life at dawn has softened into a gentle bed of glowing embers. A faint warm haze lingers in the air, the last breath of heat from the long hours of cooking. Copper pots hang neatly on hooks. A wooden spoon rests in a bowl, still smelling faintly of herbs and broth. A few crumbs remain on the table, small reminders of the evening meal. The room feels warm, even though the fire is low. It is the warmth of a place that has worked all day to nourish the castle. Imagine standing in this quiet kitchen. No voices, no chopping, no clatter of pots, only the soft glow of embers, the scent of baked bread, and the comforting stillness that settles over a room when its work is done. This warmth, a gentle afterglow, is a kind of peace, the warmth of accomplishment, of fullness, of rest. Let us follow this calm feeling to the outer edges of the castle, where warmth and cold meet in delicate balance. Sometimes, even on the coldest nights, someone might step outside, onto a balcony or battlement. Not for long, just for a breath of fresh air, a moment beneath the stars, a quiet pause before returning to the warm rooms inside. Imagine stepping out now. Your cloak wraps around you as a crisp breeze touches your face. The moon hangs low, glowing softly over snow-covered fields. The world feels vast and deeply still. The cold is real, sharp, clean, but not frightening. It wakes the senses gently, while the warmth of your cloak holds you close. From up high, the castle's windows glow with tiny golden lights, like warm stars, scattered across the stone walls. You stand there for a moment, breathing slowly, watching your breath rise in soft clouds. Then you step back indoors, where warmth greets you like an old friend. Let us follow that return into the intimate space of the castle laundry room. Though not often imagined, the medieval laundry room was one of the warmest and coziest corners of castle life. Boiling water was used to wash linens and clothing. Steam rose in thick clouds, filling the room with a pleasant, moist warmth that softened the chill of winter. Imagine entering such a room. Warm steam hugs your skin. The moment you step inside, the air smells of soap made from lye, mixed with a faint sweetness of linen drying near the fire. Women bend over tubs, their hands warmed by the hot water. They press and scrub slowly, their movements steady and almost rhythmic. Nearby, sheets hang on ropes, strung across the room, drying from the combined heat. of steam and fire. Imagine touching a freshly dried sheet. It feels warm, soft, and comforting. The warmth lingers in the fabric, long enough to make bedtime feel even cozier. Laundry days, though full of work, were secretly beloved in winter for their enveloping warmth. Let us now drift from the laundry to the castle's main well, a place where cold and warmth met in gentle exchange. Deep within the castle courtyard stood a well, a quiet, steady resource for warmth-bringing necessities, like cooking and washing. Imagine approaching the well in early evening. Snow crunches beneath your boots. A lantern swings softly in your hand. The air is cool, but your cloak keeps the warmth close. As you drop the bucket into the deep, dark shaft, the rope creaks gently. The sound echoes softly along the stone walls. The water below is cold but steady, a quiet part of daily life. Drawing water was a simple task, but it pulled people into the rhythm of nature. Cold air on the skin, warm clothing around the shoulders, a balance between the two that made medieval winters feel manageable. Imagine lifting the bucket, feeling its weight, hearing water slosh softly. The lantern light reflects on the rim, glimmering like a small star. You carry the water indoors, and the warmth of the castle greets you once again. Let us now return to the heart of warmth itself, the great hall hearth, and the people who tended it. Every castle had hearthkeepers, people whose job was to tend the fires that kept life moving smoothly. These were not always official roles. Sometimes a servant, sometimes a cook, sometimes an older member of the household who knew the fire's moods. Like an old friend, imagine a hearthkeeper kneeling before a large fire, slowly adding wood, carefully shifting embers, patiently managing the flames. Their movements are slow, measured, gentle. They know how to make the fire last through long winter nights. They know when to let it rest and when to stir it alive. The hearthkeeper's presence was a warmth all its own, a quiet, steady care that made the castle feel safe. Imagine watching them work. The glow of the fire lights their face softly. The room behind them is peaceful. The flames respond to their touch, like something living, something comforted by human hands. Let us follow these steady flames into the castle's quiet workshops for one more soothing scene. One of winter's gentlest crafts was candle making, a warm, glowing art that lit the long nights. Imagine stepping into a small room where candles are being dipped. A pot of melted tallow sits above a gentle fire. The air is warm, carrying the soft scent of heated wax. A woman or child dips a wick into the warm liquid, lifts it out slowly, lets it cool, then dips again. Each layer builds the candle, a little thicker, a little stronger. The work is patient, repetitive, and calming. Rows of drying candles hang from wooden beams above, their creamy shapes glowing softly in the warm light of the room. Imagine touching one, still faintly warm, from the freshly dipped layers. Candles made in winter became the light of the castle, small flames that offered hope, comfort, and quiet companionship through long dark nights. Let that warm glow guide you now to the closing moment of this part of our journey. Midnight in a medieval castle was peaceful. The fires burned low. The halls were quiet. The air rested in a state of calm stillness. Imagine walking softly through the great hall. The final embers glow red. Beneath a blanket of ash, a tapestry sways faintly as a breeze moves through the rafters. Somewhere in the distance, a guard shifts his weight and breathes into his hands to keep them warm. Everyone else sleeps, wrapped in wool, cuddled under fur, resting deeply. The castle sleeps too. Its stones hold the memory of the day's warmth. Its fires protect the night. Its walls guard those within, as gently as a cradle. Let this peaceful, quiet scene settle softly in your mind. Imagine now a medieval bed, just after the blankets have been shaken out, and the linen smoothed. The feel of linen was familiar, cool at first touch, but softening quickly beneath the warmth of the body. Linen breathed gently, letting warmth settle in, without becoming too heavy. Wool, on the other hand, was the heart of warmth. Imagine a thick wool blanket resting over your body. It has a gentle weight, not heavy, but grounding, like a soft hand, reassuring you to rest. Wool held heat beautifully. It trapped the warmth you created and kept it close, making even the coldest medieval room feel like a sheltered nest. Now imagine both together. Linen against your skin, wool on top, each layer working quietly to keep you comfortable through the long winter night. The people of the Middle Ages understood these materials deeply. They trusted linen for its softness, wool for its warmth, and furs for the coldest nights. Let us move gently from these soft fabrics to the slow warmth created by glowing braziers. Not all rooms had hearths. Some relied on braziers, metal bowls filled with glowing coals that warmed spaces with soft, steady heat. Imagine a round iron brazier placed in the corner of a room. Its coals glow deep red. A faint wisp of smoke curls upward. The air around it feels warmer than the rest of the chamber. These small fires were carried to rooms that needed extra warmth, guest chambers, workrooms, and sometimes even hallways. The warmth they created was gentle and local, a small oasis of heat in a larger, cooler environment. Imagine sitting beside one now. You extend your hands, and the warmth meets your skin with a slow, soothing touch. The coals shift softly, making the faintest sound, a quiet reminder that something warm and alive is tending the room. Braziers were treasured in winter. Their glow is comforting as the warmth of companionship. And speaking of companionship, let us move into the world of shared sleep in simpler cottages and village homes. Not everyone lived in castles. Most medieval families lived in small cottages where warmth was created through closeness and simplicity. Imagine a one-room cottage with a small hearth at its center. A pot hangs above the fire. A low wooden bed rests in one corner, and a straw pallet in another. Parents and children sleep close by, perhaps all on one bed, or side by side on warm pallets, lined with wool and straw. When one person turns, the blanket shifts for everyone. When a child wakes briefly, a parent soothes them with a warm hand and a soft whisper. Imagine lying in such a room. You hear the fire crackle softly. You sense the warmth of the family nearby. The air smells faintly of cooked grain and wood smoke, even if the wind presses cold fingers against the shuttered window. The room feels safe. The warmth here is simple, but profound, born from shared space, shared work, and shared life. Let that image settle as we drift next into the gentle realm of medieval hospitality. In medieval times, hospitality was a deeply valued practice, especially in winter, when cold could be dangerous. Imagine a guest arriving at the castle gate late in the evening. Snow clings to their cloak. Their hands tremble from the cold. A servant greets them warmly and guides them inside. The great hall offers its first gift, heat from the central fire. The guest steps close, feeling warmth settle into their bones, relieving the stiffness of winter travel. Food is offered, simple but warm. Stew bread, something to drink. Then a small chamber is prepared. Blankets are laid out carefully. If the night is very cold, a heated stone, wrapped in cloth, is tucked beneath the covers. Imagine being that traveler. You slip beneath the blankets. The warmth invites you to breathe deeply, to let go of the cold, to rest safely at last. Hospitality carried warmth, not just to the body, but to the heart, a gentle reminder that kindness itself was a source of heat. Let this kindness guide us into the subtle warmth created by medieval sounds and scents. In the quiet of medieval nights, warmth was felt through more than touch. It existed in scents. The sweet smell of dried herbs, stored in wooden chests, the earthy comfort of wool cloaks, the faint aroma of spices, saved for special occasions. Imagine a room scented with rosemary dried near the fire, or lavender folded into bed linens. The warmth of these scents was soft, soothing, and calming to the mind. Sounds, too, brought a gentle comfort. The pop of wood in the hearth, the soft creak of wooden beams, the wind humming quietly along the outer walls, the muffled rustle of someone settling deeper into their blankets. These small sounds were lullabies of their own, familiar rhythms that help people drift peacefully into dreams. Imagine lying in bed. You hear the faint whisper of fire, the soft breathing of someone near you. The world outside, quiet and distant. Warmth fills the room, not loudly, but intimately. Let that peaceful feeling carry you into another warm scene. The castle bathhouse. Bathing was a special event. In the Middle Ages, especially in winter, imagine entering a small bathhouse. Within the castle walls, a large wooden tub sits near a roaring fire. Water has been heated in iron cauldrons and poured slowly into the tub until steam rises gently into the air. The room is warm, much warmer than most others. Moisture softens the chill. Herbs float on the surface of the water, releasing calming scents. Imagine stepping into this warm bath. Your muscles relax instantly. The heat surrounds you like a soft blanket. Your breath deepens, slow and content. People soaked in silence, allowing the warmth to ease the weight of winter from their bodies. After bathing, they wrap themselves in linen or wool, their skin still warm. As they returned to the cooler rooms of the castle, the lingering heat was soothing, a gentle armor Against the night. Now let us explore another beloved winter ritual. Warming drinks before bedtime. Before sleep, many medieval families enjoyed simple warm drinks designed to soothe and comfort. Imagine a cup filled with warm milk, sweetened with a touch of honey. Steam drifts upward in delicate curls. The smell is sweet, mild, and calming. Some sipped warm ale, lightly heated by the fire. Others brewed herbal infusions, thyme, mint, or chamomile, poured into wooden cups and held between both hands. For warmth, these drinks were not strong or exciting. They were quiet, steady, and perfect for settling the mind. Before rest, imagine taking a slow sip. The warmth moves gently through your chest, sending a wave of relaxation through your limbs. You hold the cup a moment longer, enjoying the weight, the heat, the calm. This simple ritual was one of the clearest bridges between waking and sleep. And now, let us move to one more warm scene before this part comes to a close. As night deepened, something magical happened within castle walls. Every room, every corridor, every hearth seemed to exhale. At the same time, a hush settled, soft as falling snow. Servants slipped into their blankets. Guards changed shifts. With quiet footsteps, a final candle burned low. On a wooden table, somewhere in a small chamber, the castle grew still. Not empty, but deeply peaceful. Imagine this moment. The air is warm from hours of fire. Blankets are pulled close. Every breath in the castle seems to match yours. Slow, gentle, steady. This is the quiet warmth at the heart of medieval nights. Warmth in the Middle Ages was carefully maintained. Clothes and blankets were precious, and people took quiet pride in keeping them whole. Imagine a small chamber, lit by a single candle. A woman sits with a bundle of wool garments on her lap. Her needle glides slowly through the fabric, a soft rhythmic motion that brings new life to worn cloth. The sound of thread pulling tight is the only sound in the room. Next to her, a child holds a piece of linen, embroidered with simple stitches. A father repairs a torn cloak, carefully pulling the wool together. These small acts, patching, darning, stitching, carried warmth forward from season to season. Imagine touching a freshly mended blanket. The seam feels firm, yet gentle beneath your fingers. The blanket itself smells faintly of wool and firelight. It will keep someone warm for many cold nights to come. Mending was not hurried. It was calm, mindful, and softly communal. Let this serenity follow you as we drift into the world of medieval storytelling by the fireside. Before bedtime, families often sat together near the hearth to share stories. Imagine a dim room with a fire glowing deep orange. Shadows dance on the walls as someone begins a tale. Maybe it is an old legend, passed through generations. Maybe it is a story about a brave traveler, or a kind shepherd, or a faraway kingdom. Voices are low, soft, steady, matching the calm rhythm of the crackling fire. Children sit wrapped in blankets, eyes half open, letting the words drift into their dreams. Adults listen quietly, their minds soothed. by the gentle storytelling. These tales carried warmth of their own, warming the heart, lifting the spirit, and preparing the mind for rest. Even now, imagining such a scene brings a cozy calm, a sense of belonging, and gentle ease. Let the warmth of these stories follow you to another soothing moment, the return of warmth after time spent outside in the cold. In the Middle Ages, every moment spent outside in winter made the return indoors feel especially comforting. Imagine stepping in from a cold courtyard. Your cheeks sting lightly from the crisp night air. Your cloak carries a thin layer of frost. But as you enter the castle hall, warmth greets you instantly. Soft welcoming, embracing. Your cloak begins to thaw. Your hands warm slowly as you hold them near the hearth. A servant offers a warm drink, and the heat seeps into your fingers through the wooden cup. This moment, the quiet transition from cold to warmth, was deeply cherished. People paused, taking a breath, to savor the feeling. You can almost sense it, the tingling warmth returning to your skin, the gentle loosening of muscles once tightened by the cold. Let that peaceful relief carry you forward into the soothing world of the castle's inner gardens. Although the outer courtyard was often exposed to winter winds, many castles had inner courtyards, small sheltered spaces that held warmth surprisingly well. Imagine stepping into one. High walls surround you, shielding the air from harsh winds. The snow here falls lightly, resting gently on stone paths and leafless trees. The space feels calm, still and insulated. Sometimes, a small fire burned in a protected corner for those tending to chores or simply seeking quiet. Imagine sitting on a bench in this courtyard. Your body, wrapped in a wool cloak, feels the stillness as a type of warmth, not hot, but soothing in its protected quiet. Even in winter, these courtyards felt like sanctuaries, places for quiet reflection, soft conversation, or a peaceful moment beneath the pale winter sky. Let us walk from this quiet refuge into the castle's humble kitchen gardens. Even they held warmth in their own quiet way. Even in winter, the castle gardens did not sleep entirely. Imagine a small patch of earth, protected by wooden fencing and warmed by the low winter sun. Herbs like rosemary and thyme still cling to life, their scents warm and familiar. Root vegetables rest beneath the soil, waiting to be gathered and brought to the kitchen hearth. A gardener works quietly, wrapped in wool, breathing gentle clouds of steam into the cool air. Their hands, though chilled, move steadily, tending, gathering, caring for the plants that will bring warmth to winter meals. Imagine kneeling beside this gardener, running your hand through cold but living soil. The earth is cool, but full of promise. It holds warmth in the form of food, nourishment, and resilience. Let that soft sense of connection carry you toward another warm scene. The castle's weaving room. In many castles, a room was dedicated to weaving cloth. Imagine entering this room now. Looms stand tall against the walls. Wool hangs in long strands, soft, fluffy, and warm to the touch. A woman sits at a loom, her hands moving gently, sending the shuttle back and forth, back and forth. The sound is rhythmic, a soft wooden clack that soothes the mind. The air is warm, from bodies working, and from wool gathering, heat as it is woven. Imagine sitting beside this loom. The wool brushes your fingers. The steady rhythm slows your breathing. You feel the room's quiet warmth wrap around you. This cloth, once finished, will become blankets, cloaks, bed curtains, or winter garments, bringing warmth to many lives. Let us follow this thread into another space of comfort and quiet. The castle's modest schoolroom. Some castles had simple schoolrooms, places where children, or pages in training, learned letters, numbers, or basic skills. Imagine a small wooden table by a window. Snow lands softly on the sill outside. Inside, a candle burns, giving off a warm glow. Children sit wrapped in cloaks, listening to a tutor with gentle patience. The air is cool, but the presence of learning creates its own quiet warmth. The warmth of curiosity, focus, and small accomplishments. Imagine a child carefully tracing a letter on a wax tablet. Their breath fogs the air, just slightly. Their eyes glow with the soft pride of understanding something new. This room holds a gentle, hopeful warmth, one that comes from growing minds and shared moments of discovery. Now let us drift into the castle's quieter corners again, toward the warm companionship of nighttime lanterns. In the dim hours of evening, lanterns were essential. Imagine a simple metal lantern with soft yellow light shining through its thin openings. A candle sits inside, protected from drafts. When someone walked through the halls, the lantern swayed gently, casting warm circles of light along the stone floor. It created a sense of safety. A small portable hearth guiding the way. Imagine holding one. Its warmth meets your hands. Its light steadies your steps. The air around you feels less cold because of this tiny flame. Lanterns made the night friendly, calm, glowing, and gently reassuring. And now, let us close this part with one more warm moment. The soft rustle of beds just before sleep. Imagine now, the last moments before sleep. Blankets are lifted and settled into place. Someone shifts gently to find the coziest spot. A soft sigh escapes, a sound of deepening comfort. The room is warm enough, the fire dim but steady. A pet curls at the foot of the bed. The air is quiet, holding the promise of peaceful dreams. This is the warmth of a medieval night. Simple, gentle, and deeply human. Imagine a wooden chest resting at the foot of a medieval bed. Its lid lifts with a soft creak, releasing the faint scent of wool, herbs, and long-kept warmth. Inside, winter clothing waits. Thick cloaks, soft linens, knitted caps and mittens, all folded carefully to preserve their warmth. These garments were not just clothing. They were winter companions, trusted layers that protected people through months of cold. Imagine reaching into the chest and lifting a woolen tunic. It feels dense, warm even in your hands, as if it remembers the heat of last winter's fires. A small sachet of dried lavender has been tucked between the folds, filling the chest with a calming fragrance. Clothing stored this way felt almost alive, waiting patiently to serve again. Let us carry this sense of anticipation into the next warm memory. The comfort of animals kept indoors during the harshest winter nights. In the coldest months, especially in smaller cottages, certain animals were brought indoors to share warmth. Imagine a quiet rural home with a cow or goat sheltering just beyond a low partition. Their breath warms the air. Their slow movements create a gentle rhythm. Through the night, chickens nestle together. In a corner of the room, a dog curls near the fire. A cat finds a warm spot on a folded cloak by the hearth. This was warmth born of life itself, a shared companionship that softened winter's bite. Imagine drifting to sleep with these soft sounds nearby. A cow shifting in straw, the faint cluck of a hen, a dog sighing contentedly. These humble companions added a sense of safety and comfort that blankets alone could not provide. Now let us wander to another small but meaningful ritual, the art of warming beds. Before sleep, to prepare a bed for sleep, people sometimes used simple but ingenious tools to warm the blankets. Imagine a round metal pan with a long wooden handle. Inside, glowing embers are placed. Carefully, safely, a servant or family member slides the pan between the sheets and moves it slowly back and forth. The warmth spreads gently through the linens, softening the cold and making the bed welcoming. In other homes, smooth stones were heated near the fire, wrapped in cloth, and slipped into the bedding. Imagine the moment when you place your feet near such a warm stone. A wave of comfort spreads upward, relaxing your entire body. These small acts carried great warmth, both physical and emotional. Now let's step into a place where warmth mingled with reflection and stillness. The castle chapel at dawn. As dawn approached, the castle chapel began to stir. Imagine entering just as the first pale light filters through the narrow windows. The air is cool, but not harsh. A candle from the night before still glows faintly, its wax pooling into soft shapes. Someone kneels quietly, wrapped in a wool cloak, their breath slow and steady, seeking a moment of peace before the day begins. The stone floor beneath you is cold, but the stillness of the chapel holds a different kind of warmth, a warmth of spirit, of hope, of patient quiet. Imagine sitting on a wooden bench here, your hands folded, your breath rising gently in the chilled morning air. The world outside is waking slowly. Inside, the warmth is subtle, but deeply grounding. Let this calm feeling guide us to another warm moment. The castle's storage rooms. Castles held storerooms filled with winter supplies, grain, salted meats, dried fruit, barrels of ale, and sacks of root vegetables. Though these rooms were cool, they carried a warmth of their own, the warmth of security. Imagine stepping into such a room. The air smells of dried herbs and stored apples. Shelves line the walls, each holding part of the castle's survival. Through the long cold months, a lantern hangs from a beam, casting soft light on rows of jars and bundles. Someone checks the shelves, making sure everything is stored carefully. that the food will last until spring returns. Knowing these storerooms existed brought comfort to everyone. They represented safety, preparation, and the quiet warmth of being provided for. Let that sense of abundance carry us forward into another gentle winter scene. Children at play, creating warmth through joy. Even in the Middle Ages, children found joy in the cold months. Imagine children running through a snowy courtyard, wrapped in wool cloaks, their cheeks flushed from play. They laugh, their voices echoing softly between the stone walls. Perhaps they roll small snowballs, or slide across frozen patches, or simply chase each other with giggles that warm the heart. When they return indoors, they gather around the fire, holding their hands out to the warmth. Steam rises from their cloaks as the snow melts. Their laughter quiets into soft murmurs as they settle onto benches or wool rugs. This warmth, born of joy and movement, was one of winter's sweetest gifts. Now let's wander to another comforting place, the armory. It may surprise you, but the castle armory held its own type of warmth. Not from fire. Armories rarely had hearths, but from the presence of metal and leather that retained heat from the sun or nearby rooms. Imagine stepping inside. Rows of wooden stands hold helmets and breastplates. Shields hang on the walls. Bundles of arrows rest in woven baskets. The air smells of leather, oil, and polished metal, a scent both warm and grounding. A squire works quietly, rubbing oil into a saddle, warming the leather with the steady motion of his hands. Another tends to a chainmail shirt, the rings clicking together in a soft metallic rhythm. Though cool, the room feels lived in, its warmth coming from labor, care, and readiness. Now let us leave the armory and walk into one of the most comforting places. In the late evening, the charcoal glow of the smithy. The smithy was usually bustling by day, but at night, it transformed into a dim, warm, almost magical place. Imagine stepping into it after the smith has finished his work. The forge has cooled, but the coals still glow gently. Little red-orange stars resting in their bed of ash. The air is warm, carrying the scent of iron soot and wood smoke. Tools hang neatly on the walls. Quiet now after a day, filled with ringing strikes. A soft haze hovers in the air, capturing the last traces of heat. Imagine placing your hands near those glowing coals. They still offer comfort, a quiet, fatting warmth that invites slow breaths and peaceful thoughts. Let this warm stillness bring us to the final scene of this part. Every castle had a heartbeat, a slow, steady rhythm that could be felt in the silence of night. Imagine standing in the center of the great hall. After midnight, the fire sleeps beneath ash. The walls hold the warmth of countless nights before. The air hums with stillness, as if the castle itself is breathing softly. You close your eyes. You feel the warmth in the stone. You sense the comfort hidden in every tapestry, blanket, and woven cloth. This is the castle's warmth. Constant, quiet, ancient,